I think Samson is ending the season with a nice exclamation point here. He started off with a win at the Arnold Classic. He ended now with the Romania Muscle Fest. As far as I know, I think he's done. Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. Yes, we still have competition going on in the Men's Open from the IFBB Romania Muscle Fest that took place today, Sunday. And I got to tell you, what a lineup that was. It was almost as exciting as the Olympia lineup because everyone was in really good shape. And there was some competition there that we didn't see at the Olympia. Guys like Nathan Niasha, guys like Behruz Tabani from Iran, Horse MD. So we had a really interesting show, and it wasn't a repeat lineup of the Olympia, which is usually what we see the week after the Olympia. But Samson Dauda sure showed up, came in a lot tighter than we saw him at the Olympia. Maybe a little downsized, not as full and round. And it depends what you guys like, you know. The judges liked what they saw. He got first place here. And I think Samson is ending the season with a nice exclamation point here. He started off with a win at the Arnold Classic. He ended now with the Romania Muscle Fest. As far as I know, I think he's done. And, you know, a third place at the Olympia. He had a stellar year. I mean, you can't get much better than that aside from winning the Olympia. And some people felt he could have. But I think he wanted to end the season on a positive note, with some momentum behind him. He made $10,000, not a bad payday, right? And he established the fact that, yes, he is in shape. He might have been holding some water or whatever happened at the Olympia that didn't make him the best that he could be. He was a lot tighter here. Like I said, some people like him fuller, some people like him tighter. I think this level of conditioning is excellent. What I think he needs to do is add another 3 to 5 pounds of muscle so that he can have that extra muscle mass, and when he dries out and comes in hard like this, he's going to look bigger and fuller. And, you know, once again, we all know Samson is still a work in progress. I mean, Milos' coach said it himself. And next year, what we're going to see from Samson might blow this year completely away. Like I said, imagine if this guy puts 10 more pounds on that frame, he's going to be unbeatable. So, good win for him. But I will say this, at least from the pictures, I wasn't in Romania, so it's hard for me to say. I wasn't sitting in that front row. But Behruz Tabani from Iran, who couldn't get the visa to come to the Olympia, he had qualified for it, but he couldn't get there, looked absolutely flawless to me. As far as conditioning, muscle size, definition, separation, I mean, you could make a case for him winning this show. I mean, if you just take a quick look at the pictures and you don't start really deeply analyzing what's going on here, you would think that Tabani won this show. And I don't think, there probably were people in the theater there that agreed and thought the same thing. I think a second place to Samson Dauda here, a very close second place, says a lot for how good Behruz is and what we will see from him next year on the stage. I pray that he can get a visa to come to this country and compete at the Olympia. But for sure he will be qualified. I would love to see him at the Arnold Classic. And I don't know what his plans are. I'd have to talk to Milos and see what the deal is. But this guy is legitimately, seriously an elite level bodybuilder. And once again, like Hadi Chupin, wasn't able to, get the visa he needed. Hadi had some problems early on in his career. Obviously, he's kind of settled that out. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that now he works for Hani Rambod at Evogen, which probably makes it easier because he's working for an American company. Obviously has more of a need to get a visa to come over here and work. His work is competing on a stage. So I think if Behruz can kind of like figure out, how to get around all that and get over here on a regular basis, I think we're going to see this guy really climb the ladder, because there's no reason this guy cannot win the Arnold Classic. And with $300,000 up for grabs, I'm sure it's a high priority on his list. That is for sure. Now, Marcelo De Angelis is really, I think, the guy who really shocked a lot of people in this show. You might know him on Instagram as Horse MD. This guy had a lot of controversy about when he was an amateur, and I don't want to go into that. We can discuss that another time, but he's a pro now, and he's a legitimate open men's pro now. He packed on a lot of muscle. He brings ridiculous conditioning. He's got a small waist. He's got all the bells and whistles you need. He can be a little bigger, and he will. But and his pictures on Instagram look a lot better than the pictures on stage. But his stage pictures were phenomenal. And I got to tell you, this guy stood right in there and traded shots with both Sampson and Bayros and everyone else in that top 5. He was not outgunned by any means whatsoever. This guy is for real. If he puts another 10, 12 pounds on his body, he is going to be seriously dangerous. He's so dangerous, in fact, that he beat Nathan Deasha. And, we were talking about Nathan Deasha being a top 6 Olympia guy. Had he not had the visa problem and couldn't get over here, he actually made it over here to Florida. They wouldn't let him stay. That's another story. I'm sure we'll get Nathan on the TV show, and we'll discuss that at a later date. So Nathan has to settle for 4th here. That's how good Horse MD is in this debut. And I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with that top 4 group. I mean, I got to say the top 5. We can't leave out Mo Foda. I love Mo Foda from Egypt. This guy is also another super freak up there with ridiculous conditioning, glutes, hamstrings, the whole 9 yards. He can be a little bigger, and I think he will, but he has just improved and improved and improved every single year. I see him out there. This top 5 was stellar. And I'm not just saying, it's so stellar that, in fact, Andre Presti from Italy had to settle for 6th place here. And he was at the Olympia. He qualified for the Olympia by winning a pro show. So this tells you how good this lineup is. Whoever was at that show in Romania got their money's worth for sure. Not just in the open, the other classes as well. I will do a full recap of this show, the Classic and the 212, which was won by Ahmad Ashkanani, on Heavy Muscle Radio, live tonight with Chris Aceto and Chris Cormier. You're not going to want to miss it at the RX Muscle YouTube channel. For now, I'm Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle news update.